Hi, I don't think you've ever seen this crazily wild mess part of the garden. We've had so many ideas of what to do with this bit here, and we haven't decided what yet. But welcome to end of July, beginning of August video of our edible forest garden. So as I was saying, this area, I rather like it. I like all the shades of green and textures. There's very little soil. It is stepped up. There's very little soil here as it's just straight up to the bedrock. It's amazing anything grows. And down here, this is a sedum, this is stone crop, which is edible in small quantities. Another edible plant here, although not at the moment. This is ground elder, and when it's young you can eat the leaves. And of course there are nettles. Take up the steps. This is usually covered in bees. There are a few. It's a bit of a wet, windy day today. Hard for the bees to get out and about collecting. What to show you? These lovely flowers over here. This is an edible chrysanthemum. There's a courgette there. The courgettes are struggling to produce flowers and courgettes at the moment because it's not been very sunny. It's new flower. I call them paper daisies. There's another one there. They're wonderful because they're sort of like dried flowers already. Not edible as far as I know, but they will dry and can have flowers in the house during the winter. A lot of the flowers now are going to seed, which is wonderful, so we will collect as much as we can. The chives here, I cut them down after they'd flowered and they're all sprouted back up. There's a beautiful onion head, so we'll collect the seeds when they're ready. There's a courgette down there. Whoops. A little butternut squash. These plants here have struggled because again the soil is very poor, but we will continue to work on putting goodness into the soil. Dahlius have just started flowering. They're amazing really. They were left in all winter because we thought they'd all died. Well, we weren't here to take them out. But yeah, we've got a few. And probably not enough this year to crop for eating. But if we keep these, take them out in the autumn, keep those over winter, then next year we may get enough of the bulbs for eating. Sweet peas are growing up there. Lovely rustic teepee that Martin made, and they smell gorgeous. The carrots are doing really well in here. Obviously nasturtiums, and you can eat the flowers and the leaves. Got some radish coming up now. These were 3 tomato plants that were just sort of left over and tiny. They're actually producing tomatoes. I've had a huge amount of green beans off of these. Too many for me to eat. I've had to freeze some. Potatoes. Taken some out from there. Very nice. We've still got cherries on our little cherry tree. They're ripe, but they are so bitter. Not even the birds are eating them this year. They just ate all my black currants and gooseberries. Trying Chinese lettuce this year. These are doing okay. The ones down in our allotment are like twice the size, but these are not so perforated. Something down in the allotment is perforating the leaves. Fennel is enjoying a dance in the wind. I do wonder what this audio is going to be like. We have a little bit of lettuce growing there. Some grapes. Chard, and all the green leaves, all the green leaf plants that you can eat in the garden, I've started drying some of them and turning them into a green leaf powder for the winter, for thickening soups and stews or for putting on salads. Not done it before. Apples, they're growing. It's the first time it's the second time it's had apples. It had one once before. They're looking good. We haven't got as many plums or mirabelles as we did have last year, and a lot of them are dropping while they're still hard, but I don't know whether there's any I can get to reach. Is it up there? It's not quite ready, and that one's gone. That one's not nice, but the wasps will like it. More tomatoes thrown in here. Oh look, this is about to bloom. Oh, that will be pretty. I've been, can't see because the birds flick the bark back over it, but I cleared some spaces and started putting in seeds from flowers and plants that have already dropped. So I have little patches of flowers and plants coming up next year. I'm trying to remember to mark them, but I'm not the best at doing that. This marjoram has been absolutely wonderful this year. There are a few bees on it now, but normally it's absolutely buzzing. It fell down over the grass. I had to come out and prop it up late one evening when there were no bees on it, so that I could cut the pathways. Take you in here. Well, this is a butternut squash that's decided to climb the tree, and there are some butternut squash in here, and one at the back there starting to change colour. The hops has had no flowers. Oh, having said that, I can see some flowers up there. Whether they'll develop into the pretty flowers that it's known for, we'll have to wait and see. Oh, it's windy. We've got green beans here that are just flowering, so we decided to do sort of succession planting, so we didn't get too much all at the same time. Seems to be working. We've had a few peas and a few mange tout here. It was a bit of a mix because mange tout seeds and pea seeds, they look pretty much the same. Quince is growing. And the hostas are looking lovely, and they're getting really big and strong. So I think maybe in a couple of years we can start to eat some of the shoots when they come up in the spring. I have some chokeberries here, or aronia I think it's called, just starting to to ripen. They're nice dried and then have in like cereal or porridge. The echinaceous flowering. Little spikes of pink. A strange looking flower, but pollinators love them. I was going to show you, but the wind's blowing it all away. And everywhere around this area at the top of the garden, the mint is flowering. It's a very delicate pink. Raspberries. And in here there is strawberry spinach. Very interesting plant. Tried this for the first time this year and it seems to like our garden. The leaves are very tasty in salad or cooked like spinach. The fruits are, well, they don't really taste like strawberries. They're interesting, but I want to leave them because I want it to spread in this patch here. This patch was just a space I cleared and threw in lots of small plants that hadn't gone anywhere else in the garden, and look at it, how lush and green it is, how productive. I've been planting or putting seeds of beetroot, kale, a winter cabbage, and actually a flower, a Spanish grass. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So all of these, when they're large enough, will go down into our allotment. I've already taken down their long black radish and long white radish. And this Spanish grass forms like a mound with little pink flowers. Not edible as far as I know. Just a flower to try and experiment with. So the polytunnel is speckled with red and green tomatoes. Hundreds of them I've had. They are very, very tasty. The basil's doing really well in here. I'm glad I decided to try it in here. Now the melons that I put in the pots, I don't think they've had enough goodness to produce any fruit, except, oh look, there's one, there's a baby melon. We think we need a bit more heat. Last year was so hot, this year isn't. And down the bottom here, down, 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 there's melon growing. There's some really nice carrots in here. Quite a few have been eaten by my grandchildren. We have, here, can you see that? No, not the tomato, that there. This is chocolate chilli. This is supposed to be a mild chilli. We'll see what it's like. Peppers have just started producing fruits very late this year. I'm going to go back to planting them in the autumn and keeping them inside during the winter. That worked really well last year, but we weren't here. There's an aubergine. It's had some flowers, but no sign of any fruit. It's supposed to be a white. Oh, I may have told a lie there as well. That could be a fruit growing at the bottom there. It's a white aubergine. And more peppers. And apple tree branch in the way, so I'm going to have to duck down. I love this like delicate, almost cloud of pink from the mint. And a good splash of colour here. Quite a few of these flowers are edible. The sunflowers really don't know which way to turn. They're searching for the sun but not finding it. Cabbage is growing really well in the middle, and there's some, I've forgotten, milk thistle, which you can eat the small leaves raw, but you need to cut off the spikes. It's a very pretty plant. If you cook it, you don't need to take the spikes off. It's a wild plant that's grown in the garden. Not actually sure what it is. I'll have to find out. And here we have the pumpkin patch. And there's a small pumpkin there. And if I go in here without stepping on the plant and move some leaves, there's a big one. Yay! I hope there'll be a few more fruits. There's plenty of flowers. And look at the size of these flowers. Look at the size of that. And of course they are edible. They're nice dipped in batter and fried. I've done that with nasturtiums and daylilies. Very, very tasty. This has established itself this year. It's not an edible, but it's a wonderful ground cover. And I love daisies, and I love the fact that you get the pink when it's young and then they turn white. And this year, this is the catmint, or one of the catmints. We've got a lot in the garden. It's grown tall and straggly, cut it right back, and it's just all come back again, flowering again for the pollinators. Up at the pond, and I saw a snake up here. Well, I heard it actually in the water and saw it disappearing. And then I saw another one here. Now I think they were two different snakes, because I swear that the snake I saw disappearing in there was a lot larger than the snake I saw here. They were grass snakes, nothing scary. There was also a baby magpie bouncing around up here. Oh, he was so sweet. I didn't get a photo. He didn't really have tail feathers, so he was sort of like square in shape. He was a bit too young really to be out, and I've seen neither him or her or the snakes. So I don't know whether they met or whether he grew his feathers and flew away. I left the nettles here to grow tall, to attract butterflies, but so far I haven't seen butterflies on there. It's usually the peacock butterfly that lays its eggs. There have been a few in the garden, but not a huge amount. This is where I put sunflower seeds in the winter for the birds. I just love the fact that they've sprouted. And a new addition to the garden. Come and meet my new friend. I just think she's gorgeous, and she has a wobbly head. I do like to add things to the garden when I find them. There's a sage there, which self-seeded from our big sage. The Jerusalem artichokes have come back. They died off last year because it was too hot and dry. So they're loving the unseasonal coolness of this July. Another addition to the garden, hidden away so it doesn't get too much wind, it doesn't intrude into people's lives too much. We've got some good wild rosehips here. So they'll be nice for hip and haw syrup. I love this pathway, despite the stinging nettles out to get me. Whoop. Very excited earlier on in the year. There were lots and lots of hazelnuts on the bushes out in the wild and in the garden. But sadly, an awful lot of them have dropped to the ground and were empty. We do have some, and they're starting to change colour. So all is not lost. Cabbages, green leaves galore, and it looks like plums are starting, whoops, they're still very hard, but they're starting to change colour. That will be a nice harvest to look forward to very soon. So that's it for July 2023. I hope you've enjoyed the walk around the garden. I'd like to thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to see you again at the end of August. I wonder what August will bring to the garden.